Welcome to the Dillweed Society Film Podcast. My name is Max, and my favorite movie is In the Heat of the Night.
My name is Isabella, and my favorite movie is Moon.
Ooh. And my name is Megan, and my favorite movie is Pitch Perfect.
Yes.
It's like such a good summer flick.
It's a good movie.
That's why.
And we were just talking about it last night. We mentioned it last night.
And we've been talking about all the mashups that they've been doing, that they did, right? For the past week, we've been talking about them.
That's my favorite movie.
Da, da.
Bow.
Yeah, exactly, you know.
It's so good.
America had a brief obsession with a cappella music.
All because of Glee.
Is it brief?
It all
it's not
stemmed.
Brief. It was like 7 years.
Yeah,
it was 7 years.
In the grand scheme of history.
Because then the sing-off got really big, and then the Pentatonics got really big.
But
it all came from Glee. You can draw a
the
line
Glee project
directly.
Right off of
Glee project, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Pitch Perfect. Pitch Perfect 2.
Yeah.
They made a third one?
It was weird. It was like a heist movie.
I remember that.
Yeah, they weren't singing. They were just heist people.
Wow. Elizabeth Banks really bankrolling.
I don't know if she directed that last one, but yeah. He's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Moon. You feel bad about saying that because of Kevin Spacey, though?
Wait, I don't actually know that movie. Can you give me a brief?
Is he in that movie?
He is the robot. He's the voice of the robot in Moon.
Oh, okay. I was like, it's only my favorite actor whose name is Sam Rockwell. And because it's like a one-man movie.
But there's a robot that talks to him.
Yeah. I thought this movie a little bit reminded me of Moon.
Oh, yeah?
For different reasons that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Is it the astronomical kind?
Yeah. I couldn't say Fantastic Mr. Fox, even though that would have made sense. We should have all said our favorite Wes Anderson movie.
We still can.
Yeah.
Okay, what
3, 2, 1.
Fantastic
Grand
Mr.
Budapest
Fox.
Grand Budapest?
Yeah,
that's my second
good.
favorite.
That's
and
good.
Rushmore's my third.
I actually haven't seen the majority of Wes Anderson films. But I've just
There's
seen...
not that many.
I own Fantastic Mr. Fox. I know I've seen Grand Budapest at least one time. Probably twice. But
French
it's really
Dispatch.
good. Haven't seen... That's still been on my list.
That's my third favorite.
What?
Yeah.
Crazy. We'll talk about this.
I really like French Dispatch.
I've had a lot of I've shared a lot of thoughts around Wes Anderson recently. Not in a good way.
Oh,
anyway.
Well, I mean, this is the best platform
I
to share with the public.
I suppose.
What are your thoughts on Wes Anderson?
I generally appreciate his like devotion to an aesthetic and like an auteur style. I think a lot of people say that it's gimmicky, but like you look at an Edgar Wright movie and you know it's an Edgar Wright movie because of the editing. Like you look at like a PTA film because of like the story or something. And like what Wes Anderson's thing is like the visuals. And I think he's like done a really good job with that. I just feel that with his most recent movies, I'm thinking Isle of Dogs, I'm thinking French Dispatch.
Yeah.
He has like reached a point where people make the style over substance argument a lot. And I don't know if it's just that, but I think that there was a lack of heart that I was feeling that was tied to his earlier films that I really liked. So that kind of changed with his most recent movie that we just saw. But what are you guys' thoughts on Wes Anderson?
It's not just visuals though. Like he crafts the editing, the visuals, the dialogue, the whole screenplay, right?
But what I was saying is, like, people boil it down to the visuals.
That's true,
like
yeah.
a pretty movie.
That's, like, the most iconic thing about him. Yeah, I get that.
And then secondly, I think, honestly, the music keys people in very easily.
Alexandre Desplat, too, yeah.
Was
does anybody talk about that partnership and the way that they, like, exalt Wes Anderson's style?
He's so good. And Alexandre Desplat has done, like, my favorite soundtracks of, like, everything. He did part of the Harry Potter franchise. Yep. He did
those Order of the Phoenix, I think.
Yeah, and he's done like loads of other movies, but his particular partnership with Wes Anderson is really interesting.
He's sort of... Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, I think it's cool, like, from a musical standpoint, to see somebody who's done fantasy work do so well at Wes Anderson, which is like a mixture between fantasy, drama, comedy, magical realism. Like, I don't know enough about like the discourse around Wes Anderson to know if he's been pigeonholed into like one particular style of like genre. But I think from the music component, I didn't know that this composer like did all these other works, and I think it's interesting to see the translation over to a more realistic portrayal.
I think most people would characterize his films as comedies. And that's at least how they're characterized in like Google's sense.
Yeah.
They do, I mean, his thing is kind of like his writing style incorporates a lot of dry humor and like deadpan comedy, I guess.
It is its own genre in a way. Like all of them have a particular
their own genre. I mean, what is a genre to begin with? Like,
yeah, you're right. But it's not clearly a comedy because it's emotionally, I don't know.
I mean,
what is a comedy period?
Most
right?
comedies like the best comedies are not just funny. They incorporate something that is deeper, like meaning, like heart to it.
Yeah, which really segues us into this movie. I think that this movie tried to do that in a way that Wes Anderson movies have not in the past. So what movie are we talking about this week?
Asteroid City.
Asteroid City.
Asteroid City. Max, do you have a synopsis?
Let's see. Set in a fictional American desert town circa 1955, the itinerary of a junior stargazer space cadet convention, organized to bring together students and parents from across the country for fellowship and scholarly competition, is spectacularly disrupted by world-changing events.
Okay.
Like the biggest, oh my god, scene.
Yeah.
The spectacular world-changing events. I mean, when's the spoiler ball coming down on the podcast right now?
I don't know.
I say this movie, yeah, maybe we can do like our general thoughts and then...
I mean, I went in not knowing anything. I refused to even watch the trailer out of spite.
Mm-hmm.
Spite?
Yeah, because
I
had it with Wes Anderson and his fans, and after French Dispatch and I Love Dogs, I was just kind of like, ugh, I don't really want to see it. I mean, I will see it, but I won't watch the trailer.
You didn't like French Dispatch?
Didn't like French Dispatch. I was pleasantly surprised. Those are my overall thoughts.
Yeah, I didn't see I Love Dogs, and I also haven't seen French Dispatch, but I really want to. I don't really have a desire to see I Love Dogs. And it did just dawn on me earlier this week that it is a play on the words I love dogs for the first time. That really hit me. I didn't look it up. I don't know if that's real, but I love dogs.
I love dogs. I love dogs.
Megan, like, has the brain.
Crazy.
I don't know if that's real, though, but it sounds real.
Sounds real, yeah.
But anyways, for this movie, I'm a really big sci-fi and, like, also true astronomy space fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really kind of excited to see what I imagined would be a very adorable and precious take on that kind of sense of wonder.
Yeah.
And that really paid off. The scene in question, which I will not discuss in detail, I was like, Max and I saw it together in theaters, I was like gripping Max by the shoulder and just like squealing in delight. Yeah, it was a very delightful movie. And also the woman, what is her name, who plays the famous actress?
Scarlett Johansson.
She is such a fox in this movie. I loved her so much.
That's interesting. I have thoughts on her character.
Oh yeah, for real. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the cast was just fantastic. Obviously, like, it was too much. Like, it was just sugar on top of sugar. He sprung the entire budget on the cast, and there's only, it's like a bottle film, right?
Well, the thing about Wes Anderson is his casts are so, he like sticks with the same crew and everything, and he like adds in a few characters here and there. So like here you got Scarlett Johansson,
Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston,
Steve Carell as a side character.
Steve Carell was my favorite. He was the best. He was the best. Every time I smiled so hard.
He sold his character better than any other character.
Yes.
And I was like, he's such a genius. He's so
good. Yeah, I love Steve Carell. I think where the cast like tends to fail with Wes Anderson films, because it's like a crew, and like if he has like a little role for like someone to just be like, hey, like, can you say this one line, he'll just like call up one of his people, but but to the audience, it's like, oh, that is Jeff Goldblum. Like,
Right.
out of nowhere, that is Willem Dafoe. Like, for no reason.
Who was fully there.
Oh my god.
What?
Willem Dafoe.
Was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe, like Tilda Swinton, Ed Norton, Bryan Cranston. Jeffrey Wright makes a reappearance in this movie.
He's in, yeah.
Do you
a
think
couple.
that they
He's
all...
only been in the last two, though.
Do you think that they all like took like lower contract level pay because like they got to be in a West, or it's such a small part? Like, are they all friends? Like, what is the what was the budget for this movie?
I have no idea. They must all like the...
I think Wes Anderson needs to start rejecting higher budgets because, I mean, that was my problem with The French Dispatch. I was like, oh my god, everyone gave him so much money to make this, like, ode to, like, the frickin' New Yorker. And it's kind of is, like, bad. But the thing is, too, $25 million. That's not that bad.
That's a low budget.
That's
That's what I'm
pretty
saying.
low.
Like, all of
Yeah.
these people, like, I mean, to be fair, a lot of them are only on screen for a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
And the kids are, like, all unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and they had, like, the most on-screen
Right.
time aside from Scarlett and the dad.
Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah.
Like, they could have done the Bryan Cranston and Willem Dafoe scenes in probably 1 week of filming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no sets. Like, it's like
There's 3 sets.
3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the set of Asteroid City. So maybe there's 4. There's a set of, like, the, like, setup of, and you see it, like, pan over.
Yeah.
There's a set of, like, the backstage of the play.
Yeah.
And, like, a little bit to the outside where they're, like, talking across the fire escapes.
Mm-hmm.
There's inside the asteroid hole.
Okay.
And then there's the acting class.
Yeah.
And I guess also Tom Hanks is set at his, like, ritzy millionaire house.
Yeah.
Right, but that's, yeah, you see
And, like,
ones
the
with that scene.
hotels in Asteroid City. And, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's pretty lightweight as films
Oh,
go,
yeah,
especially compared
for
to French
sure.
Dispatch.
Thing is, though, like, so French Dispatch was premiering when it was announced that Wes Anderson was, like, filming this. And so that makes me think that, like, I don't know, it feels as if Wes Anderson maybe just left French Dispatch with the editor and was like, just, like, do it, I'll give it a once over, and then, like, we'll do it, which most of my problems with French Dispatch are the pacing. And, which is a lot the writing, but a lot the editing. So I don't know, I'm just speculating. But also, like, this movie felt so much, like, more, like, wholesome and, like, driven by heart than his previous 2 movies. That, I don't know, it was a joyful watch.
And it was really nostalgic of, like, the space race era. Like, I think it was easy to draw on that magic. I really, actually, can we make an honorable mention for the Roadrunner?
Yeah. I wanted to see Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him.
The Roadrunner and the Redacted are both... They look like they're stop motion.
The Roadrunner is not stop motion, it's CGI, but
I thought it was a puppet.
Maybe it's a puppet. Did you read that?
No, it looks like
looked
that on it because it
puppet-like.
looked like it had the little, like, the guider sticks.
Oh, that'd be cool if it was a puppet.
I like
To me,
that.
it looked like CGI. But the Redacted is stop motion. And I really like, and maybe we'll talk about Wes Anderson's relationship with stop motion, but I think it works really well with his styling.
It's at Reddit is talking about it as if it's a puppet.
Okay, that's cool.
Right?
I like that. I don't know why it looked
This
like
person
CGI.
and
to
I
me.
understand each other. Florida Flamingo Girl on Reddit. Asteroid City Roadrunner Puppet Appreciation Post. Let's talk about the true star of Asteroid City, the Roadrunner puppet. I could tell the puppeteer was relishing every second.
Aww.
The way he stole the scene. That's so sweet. I really did think it was a puppet,
Yeah.
which is a great way to
Yeah.
keep puppeteering alive. Have it in a
Yes.
Wes Anderson film.
I propose that we end the spoiler wall
Okay.
and we just talk about the movie now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Alien?
There's an alien.
Alien?
There's an alien in the movie.
Oh, I was squealing. I had to hold myself back in the theater. It was
Aw.
so precious.
Mm-hmm.
It was very off-putting to see the, like, behind-the-scenes black and white, like, man dressed in the alien costume from the, like, play version. That was off-putting
yeah.
to me.
Jeff
Yeah.
Goldblum.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum playing the alien.
Mhm.
But the, like, stop-motion descent of the... I I
really
mean,
liked
I'm
it.
sure my fingerprints are like ingrained into Max's shoulder. It was very sweet and exciting.
It was. My jaw dropped.
Yeah. All mouths agape in the theater.
Yeah. I thought, like, I had a different, like, idea of what the movie was about, and then after the alien happened, like, and I have a different, I was talking with Nick about this, and we, like, think differently about this, but after the alien came, I thought the movie kind of, like, lost its way almost a little bit, but then Wes Anderson kind of always pulls you back with, like, his own self-reflective dialogue in his movies.
Yeah. I also think the second half of the movie really felt like... It felt very cerebral. Like, it felt very point-oriented. Like, it was trying to tell you something. You know?
But tell you what.
Exactly.
But I hate that. I don't know.
I mean, I also feel like that was... Like, he was pushing so much to, like, have some sort of meaning to the movie in a way that wasn't really clear.
I think there was a clear meaning, but it got blurry, at least for me, in my reading of it, after the alien.
Yeah, which is when he tries to hit you over the head with it.
Yeah, and what I think the self-reflective dialogue is like, when it goes to the stage production, he's like, what is this about? What does this all mean? And then someone's like, it's a metaphor. He goes, a metaphor for what? And they go like, oh, just like write it out, like you'll get it. It doesn't matter. Like, just do it, and it'll be cool. And he's like, no, I have to figure this out. Like, what does this mean? What does this mean? But I think...
It's about man's struggle with infinity. That's a line. About, like, you know...
Just roll my eyes into the
like,
back of my head.
I was thinking, like, he's grasping for something. Wes is grasping for something that it's, like, more ambitious than any of his previous films in terms of message.
I don't even think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I think it's just a cute film.
Yeah, because, like, okay, so he does tend to, like, tell stories of these, like, troubled creators, but I think that's more of just, like, him putting himself into his own works.
I was just gonna ask if you guys thought more, like, if there was, like, a self-insert aspect to this, because it seems almost too on the nose that the playwright is the self-insert character for
I don't
him.
think it's a self-insert per se. I think it's just,
Yeah.
like, he talks to himself in the dialogue.
Okay, yeah, because I'm curious to hear more about, like, your thoughts on...
Because he even does that in, like, his older movies, like Darjeeling Limited. There's a spot, like, just, like, a little line where it's like, this would be more dramatic if there was a train passing by, or, like, this would be more climactic or something. And Wes Anderson loves trains, obviously. Puts it in everything.
Yeah.
And, so I don't know. I think he tends to just, like, put his own thoughts about himself into his films.
But, like, you know, Moonrise Kingdom has theses, but they're not so grand as to be, like, what does it mean to play with infinity? Like, what does it mean to confront infinity? You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
Yeah,
I thought
that was weird. We couldn't.
Oh
you and I were
my God.
talking about that afterwards.
Yeah.
We're like, what does that even mean?
Like, he's trying to get somewhere, and it doesn't make sense.
I mean...
yeah. We should also mention we watched this with your brother Teddy.
Oh,
Don't want to leave him out of the
yeah.
the dialogue equation.
I mean, I got it. I got, like, just a baseline idea of what that would mean. But at the end of the day, in that scene, I was like, guys, stop. This is embarrassing for you. Like, stop it. I don't like that. That's really weird.
Sleepwalking man. That did it for me. I was like, okay.
It was like, you can't wake... It was like the crash zoom. It was like, you can't wake up. Or wait.
It made me think of Don't Look Up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the kind of, like, zombie-fied, like, weird apocalyptical coming to a reckoning with our own global mortality.
Yeah.
Virtue signaling. And I was
Yeah.
like, where is this going? Like, what does that mean?
I mean, I think that what I, like, got from it just from, like, a basic reading is, like, you can't appreciate and, like, understand your own reality without, like, giving into the fantasy, which I think is what Wes Anderson tries to do with, like, creating this fantasy world. It's like, let yourself live in the fantasy for a moment only to appreciate your own reality more. But what I really thought the movie was about was, I thought it was a movie about grief for, like, the majority of the film.
Mm-hmm.
That's the vibe I got. And I thought it did a really good job with that in terms of a familial aspect.
Yeah.
You know, those three girls are actually triplets.
Of course they are. They look exactly the same.
And they've all only appeared in the same other movie together as the baby in All Exchanges Final from 2017.
Aww. They were my favorite part of the movie.
They were
other
so
than
good.
Steve Carell.
Yeah, they were really good.
I think
They
all
were
of
so
the actors
cute.
did great.
Yeah.
I thought Jason Schwartzman,
Mm-hmm.
this is my favorite performance of him of all time.
Yeah, okay, can I say something about him?
Go for it.
So I think, and I know I've been talking a lot about everything, but I think when people think about dialogue in Wes Anderson films, you think, like, staccato, you think very, like, pronounced. Yeah. But when you look back in his older films, it's very mumbly. It's very, like, so you slur your words into the line. And Jason Schwartzman has been in nearly, if not every single Wes Anderson film.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his Letterboxd. I'm like,
Yeah.
these are all Scott
Yes.
Pilgrim in addition. He's in Darjeeling,
Yeah.
Moonrise, French Dispatch.
He's
French
Ash
Dispatch.
in Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah, Grand Budapest. But he's also in Scott Pilgrim. Who is he in Scott Pilgrim?
He's one of the
He's-
exes.
yeah,
Or no,
he's-
he's the one who
Gideon
abducts,
Graves.
what's her name?
Yeah, Gideon Graves.
Yeah.
Ramona Flowers, abducts Ramona Flowers.
Yeah.
But he brings that, like, that slurring into the lines. Like, he does that, and the camera will, like, pan away and he's still talking type of vibe.
Yeah.
Like, that happens a lot in Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I love it. But yeah, I thought he brought, like, such heart to the role. He did an amazing job.
I know.
And it's so hard. I mean, Wes Anderson really, like, brings a challenge to the actors. He's like, all right, think of the saddest thing you can think of.
Yeah.
Now play it deadpan.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Exactly.
Like, be numbed to the reality of this existence.
Oh, yeah.
But your eyes have to still be soulful about it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I really loved the gay kiss among the playwright and the actor. I thought that. I was like, what to do with that? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
it's
just a
just
thing. It's
there.
just a thing that happens.
It's just there.
You know?
Who's that? Who's
Um,
that between?
It was
That was
between
between-
Ed Norton
Yeah.
Ed-
and
Norton-
the playwright.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Adrian Brody was also... His character, I thought, was such a enigma.
Yeah, I guess. He was just, like, the director of the play, right?
No, he was an actor within it.
No, he was
No,
the
he
director.
was the director.
And
right?
the playwright.
He was the
is-
playwright.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
different
was.
He
people.
was the director.
And I think most people...
Whose wife is, like, leaving him.
Yes, yeah.
Right, and then he lives in the... Yeah.
I also want to shout out the guy who played the general. His name's Jeffrey Wright. I loved his, like, very quick, like, here's my speech.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da. And my grandfather fought in the war to end all wars that didn't.
Yeah.
You know? And I thought that, like, his delivery of, like, such a dramatic piece within a dramatic piece, but playing it clean was very comical. That was very funny.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to be really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Is it hard to be funny in Wes Anderson? Maybe it's not, but I feel like for comedy people who come into acting, like Steve Carell and others in this, I'm like, is it hard? Is it a stretch? Is it beyond, like, your improv training? Is it beyond the, like, yes and the, like, big flourishes and whatever to, like, be as straight as you can and trust that, like, the camera's gonna pick up all the small little details that are making it funny?
Every actor is, like, trying to square the style with their own understanding of how you act. And Jeffrey Wright's... He only started in French Dispatch, from what I understand.
I thought he did a voice acting role.
In Isle of
something
Dogs,
else.
maybe? Jeffrey Wright, like, his ability to be unique among the Wes Anderson actors, right? To really bring his own acting chops and fit into the world while also not just being like everybody else.
Yeah.
I think that he is the star of the French Dispatch, and I think that he does a great job in his role, as limited as it is in this.
I feel like there's, like, a triangle of, like, acting. It's, like, Owen Wilson type act, like, in Wes Anderson films, because the Wilson brothers, that was the first movie. Bottle Rocket starred the Wilson brothers. And then it's, like, Adrian Brody, which is, like, pretty boy Wes Anderson. Mm-hmm. And then it's, like, Jeffrey Wright, who's, like...
Theatrical, almost.
I would say theatrical.
Yeah. He's very Shakespearean in his delivery. He's also in all three of the Catching Fire,
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. He's in all three of the Hunger Games.
Okay.
Who is he?
BT. Oh, he's one of the competitors. Right?
No way.
BT?
BEET.
Yes.
He's one of the competitors.
In
He's
Catching
old,
Fire.
Yeah,
he's the
but
old
he's
guy.
in all three movies, so
Yeah.
I think that, like, he appears later as, like, a champion from past years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
I remember him. Okay, so tell me about your feelings about ScarJo and this movie, or beyond, but specifically this movie.
I tend to have a problem with like actresses who are, I mean, I don't have a problem with them. I have a problem with like the industry. She is always cast as like the pretty woman. And a scene in this movie made me feel really weird about like her choices in the movie. It's the scene where she drops the towel.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
I was like, I don't think she would do that.
Well, the thing was, she asked to do that. That wasn't in the script. Wes Anderson left the set.
Okay.
When that scene was filmed.
Because he was upset about it?
No, not because he was upset. He was just like, I don't, I mean, sure, if you feel like your character will do that.
Yeah, but he doesn't need to be there.
But like, yeah, he was like, okay, whatever. I mean, that's the vibe I get. I thought that scene, like, I was like, that didn't need to be there.
So she played it a bit more, like, desperate than it was written. Because I feel like when her character was first introduced, she was so just kind of, like, modest and matter-of-fact and being like, I'm here to support my genius daughter.
Right.
And, you know, like, why are you taking a picture of me? Okay, I accept this as part of my life as a superstar. Like, at least, you know, I get to approve it, whatever. Very contractual matter-of-fact. But then, like, the more that she gets into, like, rehearsing for this new role and then like I guess in some way identifies with the like desperation of the woman she's playing in this new role, she starts acting out in that way. Perhaps. I didn't really like, I felt like that was too predictable, and I think it also is like there's so much tropifying of like actors who act like the characters they play, which is not real for the most part. I just thought that was weird.
Yeah, I also thought it was weird, and it seems like the consensus with most people is that it was weird and not needed. But that was, like, my main issue with... And then, I mean, I thought her character had interesting depth, but I thought it could have been filled out more, especially because of how much she was in the film. But I thought she did a really good job in terms of, like, becoming, like, a Wes Anderson character. I really believe that.
Yeah, I thought that she did a good job playing the character of, like, just, like, a straight-faced person.
Yeah. The rest of her and Jason Schwartzman's, I guess, dialogue and interactions felt very like it was kind of nice in its tragedy. These two people who kind of grow fond of each other because they're stuck together and because they're both in similar like parts of life. Yeah. And then they get out and they never see each other again, presumably.
Probably.
Yeah. It was a nice side plot to the story, a nice like tragic and kind of sweet side plot.
And it makes sense, like, given like Jason Schwartzman's grief, I think.
Yeah.
Like loneliness, even amongst his own children.
And his father-in-law.
Hates his guts.
Yeah.
So I think about this a lot, but in this movie I thought about the band of like Western folk traveling singers. Yeah. And the like head cowboy of that and like the school teacher. I was like, there's a deleted scene between you two. Like there's something a little bit more that happened between like that kid like first being involved with them and like her coming and like, you know, chastising him and the band and being like, you know, you should know better than to influence this child, whatever. And then the next time that they all come together is like when he and her start dancing together like to the music. I was like, something has happened between this crew, and there's more to the story for this traveling band.
I think calls her by name. And
yes, exactly. Yeah. That was the clue. That's exactly right.
I don't know. I thought that whole plot was very irrelevant and not needed. Like, I felt like he was just trying to shovel in like so many different romances and like, because it was the children's romance, the parents' romance, the teacher and the cowboy romance.
And then the mystery of the alien and the quarantining, which I thought was like, wow, that was, you know, very evocative of recent events.
Right. I just thought, I didn't think that, first of all, Maya Hawke is just always going to be seen, like, in my eyes, she's a teenager, because she's always typecasted, so. And I thought it was, like, didn't need the school children or anything like that. It was, like, cool, whatever. But, I don't know. Like, if there was a deleted scene, it was deleted for a reason. And maybe they should have deleted more, is my opinion.
Oh, hot takes from Bella.
I don't know.
It was really only 2 scenes with her teaching the children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
exactly.
Like grappling with reality. She's like, wow.
Yeah.
We have learned that the universe is much bigger than we thought. We're going to go ahead with learning about Jupiter.
We haven't talked about the like, I don't know, competition.
Yeah, the kids.
Yeah. I thought the breaking down
autism representation.
Which one?
the entirety of any Wes Anderson film. Sorry.
Yeah, I liked, what's his name? His name is, Genius? What's...
Woodrow.
Woodrow.
But
Brainiac.
Brainiac, played by
Yeah.
Jake Ryan.
Yeah.
I
What a name.
thought he was, really endearing. And all of the other, like, young kids, especially the one who's, like, constantly asking people to dare him to do things. And he's like, and his dad goes, why do you ask for this?
Yeah.
And he's like, because...
And he
I
gives
think-
a really deep response.
He says, because I think if I don't ask someone to dare me, no one would even notice that I did it.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like when we were watching the movie, like 2 scenes before when we had seen him, I leaned over to Max and I was like, this kid just like really, he just like needs attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got the feeling it was like a single father situation.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think that Scarlett Johansson's daughter had any character other than being smart.
Yeah, it's just, she was smart.
And kind.
And kind, I guess, but like used as like a love interest for Woodrow.
But surprisingly, his and her love interest was like the least developed romance in the entire story.
Yeah.
It's just proximity.
Yeah.
Which is, I
Yeah.
think, is true for a lot of like 12-year-olds.
And
Yeah.
that's the whole movie. It's like they're stuck. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. I thought the car breakdown, anyone who's ever had a car breakdown would find the opening 2 scenes really funny.
It was some mysterious other third problem. It was like not the 1 or 2.
Yeah, and also we never got an answer about this like weird
I know.
alien moving part. And Max leaned over to me and was like, "That's an alien."
The like thing that falls on the ground and go bing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing, I mean, it's sort of related to the car, but like at the end of the movie, because like, I mean, if you're listening to this, you know this already, but the performance of the play is the movie, and so at the very end, in the like epilogue, you hear another atom bomb go off, and it ends how it starts, exactly the same, which was what I thought was kind of like both like the cycle of life that's just like going between grief and joy, or like, you know, and then also doing a play. You just gotta restart it every night,
Yeah.
doing it over and over and over again.
And that was Adrian Brody's character. Like, he's just constantly restarting.
Right. So, I don't know. I did think the meta aspects were kind of cool. I wasn't expecting them at all.
Was it cool or was it self-conscious? You know, was it like he doesn't feel comfortable making this story
just a
alone?
story alone, yeah.
You know, and so he has to make it meta.
Yeah. I think there might be an aspect to that. Or he, like, just wants to tell too many stories at once.
The part where the character runs off the stage.
Loved
and
that.
I thought that was great.
That was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
But I think now, like, what was it all for? You know? It was great, and it was, like, so emotional.
I mean,
yet
Why
what
does
was the point?
Augie burn his hand on the griddle?
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of answers to everything.
That wasn't even a big question to me.
Yeah. It's
It
like
wasn't
he's
a big
just stressed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you give in to your intrusive thoughts. You're like,
Yeah.
might as well just right there, you know?
Yeah, and also, I mean, it goes back to, I feel like I've seen this, I just read this today on that website about TV shows, what is that called?
TV tropes.
Yeah, on TV tropes, and I was like, oh, let's look at the West Wing and look at Josh Lyman, and like, the self-harm to like, distract yourself from the larger impending problem.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what he's doing, you know?
Exactly.
He's like, I can't think about this, and like, let me do this other thing, you know? Like,
Yeah.
that seems very obvious to me. That doesn't seem like a question that I would ask.
Yeah.
I don't know what an actual actor would ask, but I don't know that an actor in the position of like the person playing Augie would ask that question, you know?
Yeah.
I liked the balcony scene because if I was still watching it through the lens of this is a story about grief, like, he is connecting with the person who he supposedly lost.
Who's dressed all in white.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it both in the context of the play, he's like meeting this person, but also in the context of like his life in the meta aspect. It's like he's performed this every night since like however long, and he's like distraught. He's like I've been doing this for so long that I don't even know what I feel anymore. And he's trying to, like, connect back to, like, that early love for whatever character or acting or something. I don't know. Something like that.
Something
Connecting to something. Yeah.
I think the key is it him or the actor that comes out after him that says to her, oh, I know you. I was supposed to play, like, opposite you in such and so play.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, that line itself, like, opened in a little bit more of a key to, like, there was supposed to be an alternate ending. There was supposed to be this, like, kind of hopeful, longer down the line, like, life.
The wife.
Yeah.
That's what she was supposed to play.
Yes.
And did you notice he like flubs the line when he, like, comes out to her? He goes, like, you were the wife who played my actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah.
Which I think was on purpose. I think that was
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of mistakes in film and TV that, like, get left in because they're actually perfect, but that one I think was, like, super intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also the confusion between the story and the actors.
Yeah.
Right? Or who you're supposed to be, who your vocation is,
exactly,
and who you as a person are.
Yeah.
Which is sort of a theme throughout the entire thing.
Yeah. Because he's a photographer. He's a war photographer.
Yeah, and yet...
And she's an actress.
Right. And yet neither of them are either of those things in their moment.
And there are scientists that are supposed to know everything that we know about the universe, and they're just as flabbergasted as the kids that they let ride their super expensive telescope and, like, look out into a completely bright sunlit sky.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not it, friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a number of things like that. Of sort of, like, poetic moments in the story. And that's what I mean when I say, like, this is a growth film for Wes Anderson. You know, that he's really trying to push in this film conceptually something that's conceptual or, like, hypothetical or brainy, in a way that his previous films felt comfortable doing naturally. Like, he feels the need to push it in this film.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think it's because his, like, fame and the, like, fanfare over his aesthetic and presentation has reached such a high level? Like, people are spoofing, like, Wes Anderson type presentations of life, like, on TikTok, on Instagram Reels.
Exactly.
Like, people did that for the birth of their own child. Like,
yeah.
So, you know, like, do you think that he's, like, trying to expand beyond partially because, like, oh shit, now I'm, like, I'm part of the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah. Right. I'm a great artist. Like, I need to make something that's, like, stains history.
You know what I think? And I wrote this in my Letterboxd review.
What?
I think Wes Anderson should quit directing, totally switch to script writing, direct like a play.
Yeah.
I would totally see that.
Right, and direct a play.
He becomes Aaron Sorkin.
He clearly, but he clearly, like, could do that because, like, he wrote this as if it were to be a play, and, like, the way that he structured it, because he has, like, the title cards for act 1 scenes, whatever. And, like, movies are also written similar way, but plays are written differently. So it seemed like he was trying to, like, evoke more of that. Did you also see that tweet that was like, Wes Anderson needs to stop making movies and start designing miniature golf courses?
Oh, that's such a good tweet.
No.
So true.
That's great.
I would... Okay.
This movie reminded me of two other forms of media. One of which was Murder by Death, right? The play. Obviously, because it's a play adapted to a movie. But it's a play about a playwright arguing with his actor about the meaning of the play. Right? Or arguing with another playwright. Oh, no, sorry. That's Death Trap. Excuse me. Yeah, it's the play Death Trap. That's what I'm thinking of. But the one that is more interesting and I think more close to this movie is the play The Petrified Forest.
You were talking about that one to me.
Like, when I watched this movie, I couldn't stop thinking about The Petrified Forest, which is this movie. It's a play, but it's the movie adaptation. They're stuck in a like, rundown town where, like, everybody who lives there has only seen, like, 5 people for the past year. And it's sort of a pass-through town. And this playwright stops in, or I think he's a poet. He stops in and he talks to the daughter of the innkeep, or the bartender daughter, and he like tells her about the rest of the world, and then they both get caught up in this like heist from these bandits.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Just like the shooting guys coming through the town at the beginning and the end, being chased by the cops.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and also like it's set in the Southwest. I just think that Wes Anderson was like, he was reading a lot of classical American like Western plays
Yeah.
and plays adapted to movies particularly, and like felt the need to reproduce that in some way in his own style.
Yeah, and I really like the desert setting for a Wes Anderson film.
Mm-hmm.
The colors were really pretty.
Yeah, there's something very controlled about that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not cold, it's not warm, it's just
And
like white.
flat,
Yeah.
too.
Which is what they say.
In
Is
the
that
movie.
you're quoting the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have my last question for you all is, why did the alien come to take the asteroid and return it? What is that?
Probably just to mark it in their data system.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if there's any greater meaning. Like, I don't know.
Did you wonder about that ever? Like, I was like, if the alien wanted to come and take the asteroid, I feel like the alien could have been monitoring long enough to see when the least amount of people would be in the pit. Or, like, is he doing it on purpose as, like, a kind of, like...
Oh, here I am. Right.
Yeah. But he seemed very, very perturbed.
Yeah.
He
Although
didn't
he-
expect people to be there.
Yeah. Although he did pose for the camera, which I thought was very un-alien of him. And I was like,
Mhm.
that's a person.
And, like, coughed, too.
Yeah.
So, like, it made me think that maybe it wasn't an alien.
Maybe
but I
it was a
don't know.
person.
Maybe it was a person. Maybe
And
it
is
was
that
Jeff
something?
Goldblum.
Is it if it's actually a person?
But it's not the military.
As far as he knows.
Maybe
It's
it's
the
Maybelline.
general.
Maybe it's Jeff
Yeah, but he's
Goldblum.
just a general.
Maybe it's Maybelline, yeah.
I think that there's something kind of funny there, but maybe there's nothing.
I don't know.
Is
I think there should be, but I couldn't get anything out of it.
we're kind of in the era of movies that don't make sense.
What do you mean?
Absurdism.
Yeah, or like it's specifically a movie that can make you think that there's something deeper behind it, and then you like it's really like puzzling. I think that so I was thinking about Tar last year and how that won a bunch of awards. I don't know, that in particular, right? It's difficult to like trace what it means. Maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once too. Like that I feel like that's pretty straightforward actually, even though it aspires to be complex
I
and
mean-
kind of random.
I think most critically acclaimed movies are like, if we're talking about like Oscar movies, they're not straightforward in their messaging ever.
They're like, I don't know.
Like I would say Everything Ever All at Once had a pretty clear message to me.
Yeah,
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 same.
I'm with you.
I hadn't seen Tar, but
Minari has a kind of unclear message.
yeah, that's true.
I just think like compared to the 2010s, if you look at the movies that were made then, they're very straightforward in their messaging.
Like what?
Dallas Buyers Club.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the 2000s even. Whiplash. Birdman.
I don't know.
Those are all
I don't know
really
if I
clear.
necessarily agree.
Boyhood.
Boyhood.
Very clear.
This one is confusing on purpose.
Do you think it's like a rising out of this sense of like existentialism that we've all been grappling with probably since 2016, but also since the pandemic?
Probably. I think there's a bit of that. I think also, I mean, I am a hater towards the point is that there is no point, like,
I'm with
messaging.
you. I'm with
Right.
you.
I
I'm
hate
tired of
that.
Yeah, I think that sucks.
I also think it's like kind of lazy.
It is lazy. It is. So, and I also think that, like, art is what you make out of it. Like, you can find something in a lot of art. And I don't think that Wes Anderson's point with this one was the point that there is no point necessarily, because I think there were strong points about grief and, like, family made up in this.
But it is purposefully puzzling.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that there's no point, but that there's some point, and it's like trying to make you figure out something. Like read the
I
tea leaves of
guess.
the film.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't wake up
Perhaps.
if you don't fall asleep.
I like your take on that, Bella, because that's something that Max, Teddy, and I were trying to puzzle through. Like, what does that even mean? Because, like, for a lot of, like, the messaging for our generation has been, like, like, we have been asleep and now we need to wake up. Like, that's literally what being woke is about, like, metaphorically. But what is the whole, like, you have to be asleep first in order to wake up? Like, we were really struggling through that. And I like your take on that you expressed earlier. Because I think that actually makes it more tangible and makes more sense.
That was just, like, the immediate reading that I got from it. I'm sure I could do, like, a deeper. But, yeah, I thought it was pretty... Because I think especially, like, Wes Anderson's movies feel like a dream. They are very, like, fantastical fantasy worlds, and it feels like there is some sort of an escape that are still sort of tied to some type of reality in some way, but not, like, in a major sense. So,
and there's a safety in that.
Yeah.
I agree with Max that it seems like kind of a playing around with the genesis of a potential new-ish era for Wes. Mm-hmm. But he wanted to be secure enough to have the coolest all-star cast and have it still be like a cute film, even if the experimental parts of it didn't hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Our ratings.
Oh, yes. Okay, why don't we go around?
Yeah. Who wants to start with their rating?
I'll start. Is this out of 5?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I think I'm really teetering between a 3 and a 3.5. 3.5 just because I love the space aspect. I love the aliens aspect. The preciousness of that and the kids' like exploration mindset was really touching to me. Mm-hmm. But I think over time I will settle more towards a 3.
Mm-hmm.
For me, there was something like a seedling in this film that makes me want to give it a 4 out of 5. It was touching and perplexing in a way that is really like what I'm looking for right now. And so I give it a 4 out of 5.
Is that the highest that you've ever given on this podcast?
No, I gave RRR a 5.
Oh, okay.
And Tar a 5.
Oh, yeah, you do love Tar.
I'm easy on giving 5s and 4.5s. If I like a movie, I will, like, pretty much give it a 4.5 out of 5. I gave this movie a 4 because I had a really fun time watching it. I was pleasantly surprised. I love Steve Carell. Loved the 3 little girls, and I love Jason Schwartzman. Maybe over time it will also fall, but that's what I gave it immediately after seeing it.
It was a joy to watch, and that's what I told my family. I was like, it's a cute movie.
Yeah.
And it was a joy to watch, which is, I mean, what more can we ask for?
Exactly. I mean, mine might just be a repeat, but I haven't seen that many movies. Hopefully I will see more, because I work at a movie theater. Yeah, I saw Asteroid City.
Asteroid City.
On my one day off.
Yeah.
But hopefully I will see more. So, I mean, I'll get mine out of the way. Y'all, if you listen to our previous podcast, you will know how much I love Cocaine Bear. And so that is my recommendation this week. It is just really funny. It's gory, so beware, but it's really funny.
Yeah. I think for me, I would recommend Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
You saw it?
Yeah. I saw it in IMAX.
Oh my god, I need to see it.
I have to let people know before they see it. It's not a spoiler. It's necessary. This film is a part 1 of part 2. You know, of 2 parts.
That's a spoiler, don't say that.
No, I said it. Because I went into it and I saw it and I got to the end and I was like so disappointed. It knocked it down.
So disappointed.
It knocked it down a single star. It knocked it down a whole star.
Wow. I still haven't seen it, and Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, so I need to see it.
Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse was really good. This movie is also really good. Be excited.
Mine is one that also came out earlier this year. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Excellent film. I watched that book when I watched that book. I read that book after I'd read a couple other Judy Blume books. It could occur in any time. Like, it doesn't have to be the 1960s, like, or 70s, I think. Like, it is timeless. And regardless of if you menstruate or not, like, there are just themes of growing up that I think, like, you could understand and, like, potentially relate to. And also, this was I don't know if this is a hot take. This is my favorite performance by Rachel McAdams I've ever seen. I thought she was excellent in this movie.
What?
Yeah.
I thought she like this, like she shined for me in this in a way that like made me cry. It was a very, very important movie. And watch out for a cameo by Judy Blume. Super brief on screen,
What?
not even a character. Just just look
walks
out
by.
for it. She just walks by. Just look out for
Right.
it. So.
The relationship between Rachel McAdams and her character's husband is just like, it's
what I want.
it's
you know?
so well acted
Yeah.
too.
All right, great. So go see Asteroid City, and I don't know what our next movie will be, but we will.
We will let you know.
We'll
We
let
will
you know.
post.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very good summer of movies. We are coming up on the Oppenheimer Barbie double feature.
Oh yeah.
Woo.
Oh yeah.
I'm so excited. Yeah. And get at us on Instagram at Dillweed Society.
And we have a whole new website now. So if you go to dillweedsociety.com, it's a completely different layout, but I hope it is clear on how to read it and everything.
It's great.
Yeah. Tell your friends to become associates.
And let us know if you watched any good movies this summer. We'll talk about them.
And thank you, Megan, for being here.
Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks, guys.